Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear us? Yeah? Okay. Well, welcome to Vibrant, Visible, Victorious, or as we like to call it, 3V. This is a one-shot series run by BIMPOC. It sounds really weird saying it, but or BIMPOC. It's a space for us that we can get together and play TTRPG games, and we want to make it easier to find, connect with, and game with our fellow people in the community. And yeah, and this is Welcome to the Party and 3V. And Welcome to the Party is dedicated to creating a welcome, inclusive, and diverse TTRPG space. Blam. Um, and First up, just want to thank our channel sponsors, and we wouldn't be afloat without them. So, Tabletop Loot, So Nerdware, and Devin Rue, Mistress of Maps. And if you type exclamation mark merch and exclamation mark Patreon. Oh, we have a Patreon as well, which I haven't put in my little spiel here, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, the Dice Butler says it all. So, with all of that, we are now going to go to our players here today. What I would like each of you to say is your name and what you're playing today in our game. And we'll start with Aletta.
Hey, my name is Aletta. I'm playing Nadia, who is the Witcher in our group.
And Russ. Your mic is not.
Hello.
Yeah.
My name is Russ. My pronouns are he, him, and I will be playing the mage of the group, Ramesh.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Angela.
Pleasure to all of you out there. I'm Angela. I use she, her pronouns, and my character will also be using the same pronouns. And I will be playing Zola Breckenriggs. I am the dwarf who likes to hit things, likes to make sure things are taken care of quickly, and will very likely have to protect these fuckers.
Okay, and the adventure we're going to be playing today is a one-shot that I wrote in the Witcher world. As you can tell, I am a huge fan. And it is called A Night in Oxenfurt. The Witcher and the Dwarf, well, Nadia and Zola. Nadia specifically, you have a friend in Oxenfurt, Professor Edward Bumble, who you had saved once upon a time in one of your adventures. He is a senior lecturer on zoology at the Academy, which is in Oxenfurt, and has called you in today for a matter of extreme importance that requires discretion. As the both of you are sitting in the faculty dean's offices, you notice, Ramesh, will you describe your character? Your mic.
I apologize. I keep forgetting. So Ramesh is a darker-skinned man with very long flowing hair that falls around his face. He's a human. He's dressed in like the most gaudy outfit you've seen. Like, it is gaudy, it is bright, it is probably very fashionable with the noble classes, but for like where he is, it like is out of place. And he's just kind of sitting there looking bored at everything.
And if Nadia and Zola will take a moment to describe their physical appearance that Ramesh sees.
Nadia, if you would like to go first.
Sure. So Nadia is about mid-range height, 5'6", pretty well built, with extremely pale skin, amber eyes with like cat pupils, and white hair. Just dressed in like plain leather armor, no fuss, with 2 swords.
And Zola, Ramesh would probably, first thing you notice, it probably here is just a very like constant tapping of a giant great axe against a bunch of splint armor. It's dinged up, it's all silver, and you can tell it must have been well made at some point, but most of it just has dirt and blood, and probably from the smell, a little bit of ale all over it. There's just a single plated beard of black and red hair. There's covering a bit of an amulet with gold that you could probably see is written to say Common Cause Mine on it. And it's just, you can see beneath the splint armor, there's a worn down leather tunic, there's just pants, and mostly bald except for almost like a mohawk strip of hair right down the middle. It's kind of a very ostentatious purple that has very noticeable specks of red in it that you're pretty certain is also dried blood. She's kind of a surly kind of type, very deep brown skin, bit of amber tones, and the hair that you see on top is also black and red and purple.
You see a very young apprentice come out and say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Sita. The dean will be here to see you momentarily. Would you like anything to drink or eat while you're waiting? I'm so sorry.
How long have I been waiting?
Probably 5-10 minutes. Not very long.
So the dean's late and is still on his way. Pronouns for the dean, actually? Is it a male?
The dean is male.
Okay, yeah. And he's on his way. And you have the gall to ask me if I want something to drink.
You see her face completely crumple.
Please leave my presence. And who are these people?
I believe they are, and looks over some of the notes on her paper. She's like, oh, yes, Professor Brumble has called you, and, yes, just please wait. Professor Brumble will be here with, Dean Pitt any moment.
So they're just going to stay here? I'm pretty sure that one has blood on them.
Dear lass, I'm assuming the professor has brought us here, or the dean has brought us here for a good reason, but you might want to be careful with that one. He seems to have coward all over him.
Oh, coward. Oh, well, that's funny. Do you not know of my family, of my line?
I don't happen to take time to know fancy pants. I happen to know people who work for their lives.
Oh, are you saying that we haven't worked to be where we are?
I'm sure you have.
Here.
Or at least have claimed other people have. Nadia, please tell me we're here for a decent reason.
Of course
having
we
to deal
are.
with this.
You notice by this point the apprentice has slinked away, just disappeared.
His eyes begin to narrow. And he like very quietly like coughs under his breath, like and you hear a fart sound emerge from Zola as I cast Minor Illusion.
Oh, those usually take a while to come out. Are you going to be able to deal with the smell?
I mean,
Don't seem like a nice stiff wind would knock you over.
We'll see about that.
At this point, the double doors open, and you see Ramesh. You know the gentleman, both the gentlemen actually, as Dean Linus Pitt, as well as Professor Edward Bumble. And they say, please come in. And they gesture to all three of you. So sorry for keeping you waiting. We just needed to get a few other pieces of information before we sat with all of you. Please have a seat.
He like looks at the seats and looks at them, and he's going to sit in the furthest front seat, like the
Okay.
one right in the center.
Okay.
Nadia just sits down without acknowledging any of that.
Zola is, they're gonna walk over and just sort of make sure that their equipment is able to spread out well, make sure it's on them and everything, and just pull out the great axe and just sort of very carefully, but very like intentionally, like almost like lean it over so that it doesn't actually hit Ramesh, but there's a sense of like, oh, it's quite nice to get to be in a nice professor's office and all this. It's just coming very close and just bringing it back onto her back. It's nice to
Okay.
be around people who know some things. It makes it easier for me. I don't have to do the thinking.
Oh, I don't think you've ever done any thinking.
Never had to. I've actually had to work for my life. I will focus on other things, like actually getting things done.
It must be really hard to breathe without thinking.
Must be really hard to get anything done with no strength.
Excuse me, bad throat. Well, Nadia, we, since you saved me in that swamp the other day, couple of years back, we know you are good at hopefully doing this very delicate matter here that, before we have to get the down guard and everything involved, and then it would get messy, and we don't want the Sita family's name getting tarnished or anything of that sort. But you see, we have a problem. An old manuscript has disappeared from our archives since last morning, and so has Master Sita. And Ramesh, you know that to mean they're referencing your brother, who is studying here.
Yeah. Excuse me. Are you implying that my brother stole this manuscript?
We're not implying anything yet.
But you think it's possible?
Well,
You think, and he begins to lean forward. You think that it was my brother, a precious young man who has done nothing wrong in his life, instead of one of these other students?
well, that's what we're trying to find out. You see, the issue is that your brother was the last one in the restricted archives and has not been seen since, and nor has the manuscript.
And he sits back and he pauses. My brother is missing, and you didn't start with that?
Well, that's why we brought you here. Hopefully you might know where he is. And hopefully we could clear the fact up that, he might either know about the book or he has nothing to do with the book. We don't know yet. The problem is the manuscript is very, very, very valuable. In fact, it's priceless.
It's a book. How much could it be? 1,000 gold or something?
As we said, it was priceless. The knowledge and information within it is priceless. It's unrecoverable. That's why it's in the restricted access session, because it's the only copy known in existence and is very fragile.
Question. Did I study at this university?
Yeah, you graduated. You're an alumni. Your family has all gone through. They're what is it, legacies?
We're legacies.
My God, no wonder you're an asshole. You're an alumni and you're a legacy student.
I'm a rich legacy.
In fact, the library is named after your family.
Oh
Oh
my.
gosh, I get to play. Oh my! I get to play a rich white man, kind of, except he's not white. I never get to do this.
I get to give shit to a rich white man as another player. This is going to be delightful.
Like,
Probably.
I get to be so privileged.
You get to exist with full humanity. It's
I
interesting.
know, it's amazing.
Okay, probably. Okay, in character Zola will probably pipe up at that point and probably be like, for a fancy pants type, you don't seem to actually know how to respect someone who knows more than you, or seem to value information. I don't know jack shit, and I happen to know that when people like that, and she's just pointing over at the professor, when they're saying that it's priceless, it probably means it's even worth more than you could imagine. Best to give some respect to them. And they can't fight, but they know what they're doing.
My brother's life is priceless.
A life is a life.
Professor Bumble pipes up and says, "Look, I think the boy is I don't believe it's in him to do such a thing, but at the same time, the book is missing, and so is he. And unless we can prove otherwise, we have to go by what is evident. And which is why I asked Nadia here to help, because there's no better tracker than her, and hopefully she might be able to find out where your brother is and sort this out. And the dean has assured me that Nadia will have about 24 hours before we have to involve the town guard and your family and everything. However, there is a reward for doing this. We do have some discretionary funds to make sure this is done quickly and quietly. If you can return the manuscript back and hopefully find your brother in the process, there is a 1,000 gold reward and an extra 1,000 gold if you can do it quietly and cleanly.
So that's cute. My brother is missing, so I don't really care about this book. I'm sure that my family will be happy to pay you even more if you just bring back my brother safely. And I don't really care about the book.
What do you think, Nadia?
I don't see why he has to care about the book. He's not the one being hired to track it down.
Oh, I'm not letting you go on your own. Of course not. If I let you go on your own, then my brother's going to be blamed for it all, and I know how this is going to turn out. You're going to blame me because we have money and we're powerful, and we've done nothing wrong. If you didn't want to be like that, you should just not be like that.
All right, well, you still don't have to care about the book.
Oh yeah, that's true. But you're not going without me.
All right.
We figured while before you might want to take a look at the library, perhaps, Nadia.
Of course.
And maybe speak to the head scribe who also will give you access to the restricted area because it's very well protected, but also might have some more information for you. And if there's anything you want to ask, the biggest thing is we would really like this to be done quietly, because if this becomes public knowledge, then people will think the restricted section and our wealth of information and knowledge is easily lootable, and any thief will want to come in and take what's in here. And some of them are probably books that nobody should have access to. So discretion, really, I have to stress, try to keep this between yourselves.
Of course.
He rolls his eyes.
Fair enough, Fancy Pants. If you're going to be a bit of a little fusser over this, then we'll just take care of the job. You can leave us the gold, and hopefully we'll bring back your brother alive. In any case, Professor, we promise to try and do this job as best we can. You have nothing. You should have nothing but the utmost faith in Nadia. She's competent. She's skilled. And even if she isn't, I'll fix any other mistakes.
And who are you?
I'm just a mercenary. Most I've ever known about wealth was just my brother used to work at a mine, got himself a nice lass. Some name of Breckenridge or some sort. Not too big of a deal. I imagine you don't know any of them, but I imagine you don't know much about life in general. But it doesn't matter. I'm here to do this job because they trust Nadia, and if Nadia trusts me, then they're going to trust me as well. That's all you need to know.
Okay, mercenary. Nadia, what's the plan?
Well, first we should investigate the library to see what clues we may find first. That's the best option.
Okay, so we're going to the library.
And as you all head out, Professor Bumble stops Nadia and in confidence says, "It does look very suspicious, and it may turn out that Badri, who you know is the name of the brother, was the one who stole and ran away with the manuscript, but I honestly don't see any reason or motive to it. And I mean, maybe speak to the brother, see if he knows more about who he hung out with, and maybe there's some sort of a blackmail or some extenuating circumstance or some kind. But I am actually scared for the boy's life."
Of course, I'll do to the fullest extent of my abilities.
All right. As you all head to the library, you enter what is a massive library, and there's this reception area, and you see in the reception area boxes and boxes and boxes of books. And you see sort of a man, you hear the sounds of groaning and grumbling and sort of like lifting of heavy objects as you approach, and you see sort of just like a head bobbing above the desk, but not completely looking over.
I walk up to and ask for, it was the head scribe, right? That we're...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I ask if they're either the head scribe or they know where the head scribe is.
At this point, you hear a big thud, just like 1 foot in front of you, and the entire body finally turns vertical, and you see a really old, crotchety man. He's like, "Yes, I'm the head scribe, Eldred Greet. What can I do for you? You are no student."
Yes,
Sorry,
wonderful
students are only
skills.
Students are not nobody but students are allowed in here, except for you, sir. I believe you're
An alumni. Yes.
Yes. As you can see, I'm
course.
dealing with your family's donations at the moment. I see you had some spring cleaning.
Oh, those are just some old dusty tomes that we don't need anymore because we've all memorized them.
And you notice that most of the boxes have like your family crest on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, we've been hired to investigate the matter of a recent discharge from the library.
Oh, yes. Professor Bumble said something about that. Yes, the poor boy. It's really weird, actually. And then pulls out this gigantic tome and then flips it open and says, "The problem here is," and sort of flicks down, like it's a ledger of like ins and outs, like almost a record of who's gone in and out of the library, and sort of goes down and says, "Well, if you see here," and then points out Badri Seda and their badge name, their badge number, and entered the restricted section. You see,
and I interrupt for a second. Is everyone who is in the room allowed to hear about this? Professor Bumble mentioned discretion.
looks around. You notice nobody else is around. Well,
Okay, cool.
unless the dwarf, who also, you're not a student. No students. Nobody except students are allowed in here.
She's with me. I just wanted to make sure.
I believe her
That's
name
it.
is Mercenary.
Yes, Ms. Mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, it seems like Master Sita checked in here, but is technically still in the restricted section, but no one's in the restricted section. And yeah, now we have a missing book. Because, I mean, you must be knowing this already, sir, that your brother was currently working on a thesis that required access of the restricted section. Only those who are faculty or students with a particular thesis are allowed in there, and there's records kept and everything. But he was doing some project about elven lore, and needed access to the restricted section. And yeah, I mean, the manuscript that we're missing is this antiquated antiquated book of Toussaint when it was ruled by the Enche. You know, those really old texts.
Can you just like stop and just let us into the restricted section? Because you're like talking a lot, and I'm
Uh,
like over it.
And I actually have a few more questions. Was the restricted area ever unattended? Like, was there ever a point in time where whoever would sign someone out went home?
Well, okay, let me just start over and tell you how this book works. And actually, this entire, like, how we make sure that only those who are allowed in are allowed in. And he points towards what looks to be in the middle of this library, like a 40 by 40 box, like cube almost, in the middle with one door in. That is our restricted access section. And if you notice, and then points to his to a button that's on his robes. These are how we keep track of everybody. You see, and sort of takes it out and points it to Nadia. We have numbers written here, but as well magically, um, they trigger off alarms if someone is where they shouldn't be, and also it auto signs you into this book here. So we have all sorts of old magical wards and defenses to protect that area from damage and theft, and you can't really do teleportation magic. And only those who have permission to enter have small charms that basically allow them to enter without triggering all the alarms.
If you took off the badge inside the restricted area, would anything happen when you left?
Never thought about that before.
Yeah, that usually happens. That's why I'm here.
That seems like a glaring flaw in your system.
Sometimes the most simple and sensible of solutions get ignored by people who get a little bit lost in the clouds. And they're thinking, that's why you go to Nadia for simple things. She's the brightest.
The other thing was Master Sita was bringing in someone, a young novice who was clearly not a student. They looked like they were from, you know, areas where there's different colored lights, and they walk around that area at night.
You mean like the wealthy district where we have all the lights?
I was talking more red.
So like a bar?
Something like that. I do not want to be indiscreet in front of.
And I'm trying very quietly not to laugh at him.
But someone
in
who
front
wasn't.
of Mercenary? I'm pretty sure Mercenary is not going to care. You can just say it.
You're welcome to be direct. I think it's more a matter of embarrassing that one, and you might as well. You could do with a bit of it.
Well, she was rather comely for a student. And
Flirtatious, or was she more in the realm of trying to wheedle a little bit of information about something out of you? Because if someone's just flirtatious, that's perfectly fine. That happens all the time. I get that all the time. But if...
well, she looked like she was a hired friend, so to speak. And
So like a bodyguard.
And I'm like slowly, less successfully holding in my laps.
I see. Oh, I see. You're looking to have... So, but
every
I would
time,
imagine that doesn't happen very often.
no, actually, most students know they're not allowed to bring non-students in. And I was very clear after the second warning that I would tell the principal if he did that again. Except,
So wait, why wasn't he allowed to bring his bodyguard in here?
Wasn't his bodyguard. It was a patron of the Rosebud.
Oh. I mean, banging in the restricted section is the most fun.
I will pretend I did not hear that.
All right.
I heard that.
Was she also allowed in the restricted area?
No, in fact,
okay.
I reprimanded him and sent her away before he was allowed in the library.
That's why you bang other students.
I did not hear that either.
All right. Well, would be a record of whether she left, of when she fully left the grounds?
Well, we don't. The only people we can track are those with our badges. So unfortunately, I mean, the last time I saw saw her around was maybe several nights ago.
So then this is simple. I'll just figure out where my brother's badge is. It's like really easy. And he like snaps his fingers and he's going to cast locate object on his brother's badge.
Okay. You definitely get a ping within 100 feet.
And I know the direction of it, right?
And it is very much pointing towards the restricted access.
Oh, that's right.
Are you like sure that he even left? I mean, he is like a master illusionist, so he might have just like turned invisible and been reading this entire time.
Well, if he's been that would be very reckless of him to do so, considering that we have searched his dormitory, we have searched everywhere, he is not there. We have even looked all over and the book is missing, and if he is invisible in the restricted section, that would be very reckless and irresponsible of him to do so. Anyways,
I mean, he has like a senior, it could just be like his prank.
He ignores you and turns towards the restricted section. He's like, wait, see this line here? And you see about 5 feet from the door, there's this very strong yellow line. And it says, unauthorized access ends here. And says, just one moment. And he starts performing a ritual. And he says, I have to do this so that the wards can be taken off temporarily while you search around, because we do not want the alarms to go off while you are searching.
Yes, that would rather ruin the discretion part.
Anyways, I am done now. You may look around. I will be right here, and you see him point to his chair, which is within eye shot of the door and the room. And he says, and at any point, if you want to look at our ledger, you're welcome to do so. And he shuffles off and starts going through books again.
All right, so, well, where is this badge then?
The spell lasts for 10 minutes, so I'm assuming I can just easily locate it.
Yeah, so I will explain what's in this room. So this room is a 40 by 40, it is made out of really good stonework. In fact, Zola, you recognize it to be of dwarven make. And all around the walls, there are nothing but bookshelves lining. And in the center of the room, there seems to be a box with silk gloves, a couple of tools for reading, like a magnifying glass and tweezers and several other things for handling very delicate books, and a reading table with a chair, with one small chair. What do you do?
I'm waiting to see where the badge is.
Okay. So with your thinking, you sort of feel the ping right, like you basically are up on it, but you cannot find the badge anywhere. It's in a corner, one particular corner.
So, like, the spell is saying that he's, like, right here.
Yeah.
But I just, like, can't see him. And, like,
You
no,
can't.
I'm saying this out loud to everyone else.
Okay.
But, like, he's, like, right here. His badge is, like, right here. So, like, he has to be here.
All right. I look on the ground to see if it's there.
All right, give me an investigation check. If you all want to do your own investigation checks, those are totally
Sure.
okay. So,
Also a 7. Oh my goodness.
wow. Okay, so
Not one.
Nadia and Ramesh, you both sort of almost fall upon each other trying to look for something. So definitely what you see is there's all these books, and then one telltale sign of a book that should be there but is missing. And Zola, as you're examining, sort of just looking around and examining the stonework, examining the area, you discover a small metallic glint sort of squeezed in this very small gap between the bookshelves. And you pull it out, and it's sure enough an academy, the academy's crest is on it, and it says Department of Natural History.
Well, looks like I was right about just removing the badge.
I mean, like, surely my brother's somewhere around here. He wouldn't have gone far without it.
And Zola, the other thing you notice is that as you sort of hand it to them wordlessly, I imagine, and look at the book, the place where the book is missing, you sort of touch it and find little silk strands. And you think this might have been some sort of maybe spell component. You don't know. You've seen Nadia do some weird stuff and sometimes using stuff. Maybe this might be something, some spell component or something. It doesn't look like it belongs to any of the books.
My fancy pants. Nadia, do either of you have any idea what spell might involve using these? And just sort of hold it up to the both of them.
Can I roll Arcana?
Yep.
What would I roll for that? Because I think
also Arcana.
Okay, that's not gonna go well. I want better.
So with the two of you, initially, Ramesh, you're trying to go through what you know as your spells, and then just as you're about to hit on it, Nadia says, "Oh, it's magic aura." And it is, I believe, on D. On I don't know if you have it as a spell.
I do not have it.
Okay. In the info, it is called Arcanus Magic Aura. If you want to look the spell up.
Okay.
Where's that? 'Cause-
If you go to your info, and then just type in Magic Aura, it should show up as Arcanus Magic Aura.
Okay.
And if one of you want to read out what the spell does, because I could tell you what the spell does, but it's much more fun when players read it.
Does the mage want to explain, or shall I?
You can explain because I can't find it.
Okay. It's the I button in Roll20 and you type in Magic Aura.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was confused about that too.
Sorry, I'm clearly having a word salad moment. I should have been very more specific. I was like, the I
Also
button.
Roll20.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Oh, so he's deferring to me?
Mhm.
Okay.
You shout it first, so he's like,
So you place an illusion on a creature or an object you touch so that divination smells reveal false information about it. Yes, so you can either you do a false aura, which you change the way the target appears to spells and magical effects, such as detect magic, or you can mask it. You can change the way the target appears to spells and magical effects that detect creature types.
Oh, the other thing I should have mentioned as information was that they did use divination magic to try to locate the brother, to locate the book, and no veil.
Mhm.
Ah.
Nothing.
so that doesn't make any sense though, because like my brother isn't great at divination magic. He's like kinda, not to be mean, garbage.
It makes a great deal of sense because they tried to locate both the manuscript and your brother with divination spells.
But like what I'm saying is that it couldn't have been my brother that cast it.
All right, well, no one said that. It was placed both on him as well because they couldn't find it.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yes, because like you can't cast it on yourself, right? So he would have had to have an accomplice, even if he did it, or someone like forcing him to use his access.
It
Yeah.
says touch, so technically he can cast it on himself.
Yep.
Oh.
You can cast it on yourself or an object.
Oh, okay.
Or any creature. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, it doesn't rule out it being him, but it doesn't rule out it being someone else using him for his access to the restricted area.
Ramesh is going to go ahead and just like leave the restricted section and go to the scribe.
Okay.
I want to check to see if there's. I guess there wouldn't be any like hidden entrances or exits. But can I check
You can give me another investigation check for that. Okay.
being thorough?
So you don't see any you sort of spend, I will say, about 10 minutes looking every nook and cranny and everything, and you don't see any. It seems to be very much a one way in, one way out sort of a place. However, you notice as your medallion sort of glows just a little, you get a very faint hint of sulfur, and you see your, as you use your senses, you see footprints, two sets of footprints. You see one that looks like a humanoid set of footprints. Both of them look humanoid, but one enters the library and goes to near where the book is, and after that it sort of gets muddied as if there was some sort of hesitation. The second set of footprints, they're much smaller, like of maybe someone with much smaller feet or smaller frame. standing right behind the yellow line. And then you see essentially that's where the sulfur smell is coming from. And you know that to be sort of fiendish in nature, maybe. And as soon as the bigger set of footprints reaches the second set of footprints, there's no more footprints.
All right. So, what if he dropped his badge off at the end, and I wonder how much wiggle room there is in the line. I'm having word solid problems too, but like, would someone be able to touch before either like it repelled and someone who wasn't supposed to be there, or like noted that someone was leaving?
You're not sure about that. That's something you probably should ask.
Okay, so I go in.
But Ramesh, you go speak to the scribe.
Give me a second. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Nadia. Zola, are you doing anything?
I'm going to the scribe as well, and just sort of just checking in with him if that's possible.
Yeah, just hanging with me.
So Ramesh,
Zola just goes where Nadia goes. Zola just makes sure Nadia is extra taken care of.
Okay. So Ramesh is in conversation, but you come in and speak.
Sir, this may be a bit of a touchy subject to get into, and I'm not the best at trying to broach these sorts of subjects, but are there any sort of fiendish or sort of demonic sort of experiments or theses done in this sort of place in the restricted section itself?
And you're asking the scribe that?
I'm asking the scribe that because Zola is just like fancy, smart guy, probably knows at least somewhat what happens in here some of the time.
Well, we have books on fiends of various kinds, and I'm sure there are a couple of books on the fiends and the occult in there that probably no student should have access to unless it's part of their thesis. But yeah, we do. But as far as I know, that's not Master Sita's thesis.
Has it been any other students' thesis recently?
Not that I know of.
Is there a faculty member that specializes in such matters or oversees anyone who would wish to make that their thesis?
That would probably be in the zoology department. Professor Bumble might be one of the first people you would have to speak to.
Right.
And Ramesh, you were asking a couple of questions before that happened.
Mm-hmm. So his first question, he like walks up and he's like, so like, were you here last night when like everything happened?
Well,
like when my brother showed up.
Truth be told, I wasn't personally here. It was my night off.
Okay, then like
clearly I was actually supposed to be off for a couple of days, but since he's been missing since yesterday.
Okay, so like great story and everything, and like I love hearing about your life and all, but next question, who was working last night?
Let me see. It was actually one of our doctorate students who is going into doctorate for libraries and arcane libraries.
He like hears that they're getting a doctorate in arcane libraries and he goes, okay, cool. Can I get their name, please?
Sir.
Are we Beckett? Have we heard about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's certainly suspicious. A valuable manuscript disappears on a night someone working with magical libraries.
Also, like, what was the subject of this book?
It was actually a very rare, in fact, the only known copy in
Okay,
existence.
we know this. We've already been told this. Gotta move on.
So it's an antiquated book of Toussaint when it was ruled by the Enshe, and it's completely written in Elder speech, and it just is a book of Toussaint off that time about 1,000 years ago, and it has a lot of maps, topographical and zoological information on the region, which was accurate only about a few centuries ago. I mean, it's priceless as the sort of like picture of history many centuries ago.
So then I think we cut forward to that next part of the conversation where he has now mentioned zoology again.
Yeah.
Wait, but wait. You said that that book was related to zoological stuff and like demons count as zoology, right?
Yeah, but it's like finding a traveler's guide to Redania, except it's written in elder speech when it was ruled by the elder races, and it's all the information is only accurate to that time. It is meaningless now. Like some of the rivers are not even in the same place anymore.
So outdated junk to some people, but the right kind of person, the right kind of buyer, a novelty that no one wants to give up.
It's like having these records that are that old of that time, that's invaluable. All knowledge is invaluable.
That's fair. That's fair. But more particular to the situation at hand.
I mean,
It's likely that someone who would take this, let's say, we're not trying to accuse anyone at this point. I mean, I certainly will be thinking it, but at this point,
Oh, and what will you be thinking?
quiet you. So at this point, it would be valuable to whoever was taking it.
I
It would be
mean,
valuable to the right kind of buyer, to someone of, let's say, a less than pleasant disposition.
what,
Do I have that right, Scribe?
like an angry waiter or something?
I don't know about any wait staff. I mean, to be honest, it has more value to us. I mean, it doesn't have spells. It doesn't, as I said, the information is not even accurate to centuries ago, except for those who are studying esoteric lore in the elder races or in the elder speech.
Yes, well, I can certainly imagine there's more people than just here interested in that. Maybe not a lot, but certainly more than. They're certainly not all concentrated in one place.
That's true. I mean, we have an elven student who was helping Buzzry understand some of the sections as they are well versed in the elder speech.
Can I roll insight on this guy?
Yes, you may.
I just feel like nobody wants an old like traveler's guide that's completely like who would want this?
There's people that want that.
You, as you sort of look at this old crotchety librarian who also probably was there during your years.
Oh, he knows me.
Yeah. He's crotchety, but for the most part, he is what he is on the surface. And
Crotchety old man.
A crotchety old man. And he says, well, I don't know. I mean, I would go find his companion. I mean, I heard some other students saying how he's joined to her at the hip.
Ew. And he turns around and leaves.
Okay. What are the other two doing?
All right, so the two people we need to talk to are the professor of zoology that knows about fiends and things, and then the student that was helping the brother understand. So I'm okay doing either one. Zola, do you have any preferences?
For talking to the student first, I prefer doing that because unless they some sort of terrifying magical beast in disguise or some other terrible thing we've gotten ourselves into, I'd rather fight them than a fancy pants professor. You never know what they happen to have in those minds of theirs.
So who are you going to first?
So we'll do the student first.
Okay, so the head scribe gives you directions to basically where all the doctorate dorms and student areas are, and gives you the name. And as you go and look for them, you find them sitting in one of the student common areas reading.
All right. So I approach them and I politely ask them if they have a moment to speak about an investigation.
Sure. I'm pretty sure I cleared any outstanding debts. I mean, you could go speak to Bob. I paid all my outstanding debts and stuff.
We don't
It's not
care
about
about
that.
your sad poor life. We care about my brother who missed family dinner today and we haven't heard from him all day.
Zola is gonna gut check Ramesh with the great axe and let Nadia speak because Nadia was still talking.
Yes, this is a matter Professor, what was his name again?
Brumble.
Brumble asked about regarding this person's brother in his studies.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him mentor, and I saw another novice with him, but like I said, non-students are not allowed, and she went away, and everything's fine.
Did you see him leave again from the restricted area?
Yes.
When was this?
Probably end of my shift. Yeah, totally. That's totally when he left.
And when was the end of your shift?
Somewhere around dawn.
All right. Is there a check I can make to see if he's lying?
Insight.
Insight.
Zola would also like to do that. She's listening in on
Sure.
this and is like, the nervousness is.
Suspicious.
Sure, you may also do an insight check. Okay, clearly, very much nervous, sweat pouring down their face. They're definitely not being up and up about certain things. They're looking nervously at all your weapons as they're trying to keep. They're like holding their book close to their heart, just like almost like some really poor person's protection.
After having been gut checked and like getting himself back together, he like pushes Zola, who he knows is mercenary, out of the way and steps forward, and he's going to cast lights. And he slams his hands on the table, and a bright light flashes in her face, and he goes, "What are you hiding? Who are you protecting?"
Give me an intimidation check with advantage.
Oh, you just need to have said his swear to me.
And he's like, okay, I'll tell you everything. I was
for the record, it's not the fighter who's built like a fucking truck doing this. It's the fancy goes to intimidation. I love this.
And he's like, look, after I told her off, she came up to me, and the next thing I knew, it was done. Please don't tell anyone. I don't want to lose my job. It's the only way I can study. It pays my fees. Please, oh, please, oh, please. And now sobbing inconsolably.
Ramesh just like looks at them and goes, "That's what I thought." Flips his hair and turns away.
All right. Well, we'll certainly have to tell the professor about this, but it's not necessarily your fault, depending upon who exactly it was that knocked you out.
Please, I mean, she was really goddamn beautiful. She was almost like it was too good to be true.
He like pushes back forward and he says, "What color was her hair?"
Red.
Takes a step back. "My brother prefers blondes."
And how do you happen to know about that about your brother? That's rather personal information.
He's my brother. We like talk about our lives.
Oh, that's fair. So it's just like perfectly. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, she was way out of his league.
Excuse me.
That
He like steps back in.
It's like holding the book up like a ward.
So how tall is this person, by the way? Because like everyone is relatively speaking kind of tall. 5'5". So Zola's probably only more around like max like 4 feet. So Zola just sort of walks up to them and just sort of like pats, like tries to do the best to like console them, but like it's not
When they're
her
sitting,
forsooth.
they're at your level.
Yeah, it's like, lass, we understand, a good woman comes by, a good man comes by, whatever your persuasion thing you're into, if you're into women, and they get to be a bit much. It happens, we promise. No matter what comes of the situation, we'll do our best to ensure that nothing happens with your records, that you don't get in trouble. Promise you. Zola Breckenriggs promises you.
People like me don't get to study here unless we work.
I know. I've had family who've tried to get into here. They're not fond of a lot of folks like us. It's all right. You have a dwarf's promise. It's worth more than a lot of people's lives, even.
And you notice as they're patting them, their ears are just slightly dipped. They're probably half elf.
Do you have someone to talk to? Do you have any friends or anyone of that sort? Any companions of any kind?
Most of my colleagues go to the Rosebud. I mean, they have money to have friends. I just stay here. These are my friends, and you see the numerous books that are opened up.
Well, find what comfort you can in some books. It's not for everyone. It's not for me. I'm not that kind of type. If it's not apparent already, and she sort of just gestures to like the still probably drying blood in her hair, but she's like, look, the right kind of people will come towards you, and sometimes you just gotta take a leap and go and try and talk to folks. But no matter what anyone here tells you, you deserve to be here. I certainly don't deserve to be here. That's more because I don't give a fuck about these kinds of things. But you have spirit, you have heart, and you have drive to learn. It's more than someone like me can say. And I respect you for that. And frankly, I think my respect's worth a hell of a lot more than these fancy pants who try and act like they're better than you.
And they nod and say, I'm sorry I wasn't more helpful. I said what I said because I didn't want to get into trouble. You know what they do to our kind. They only give us one shot.
If you're lucky like me, they give you half a shot because you're only half their height. Ha She laughs more to herself. She doesn't wait for anyone else to laugh. She laughs more to herself. But honestly, dear, we'll do our best. We'll do our best to make sure
I hope
that you don't get into
find
trouble.
hope you find him. I mean, he was a nice guy. I don't know so much about the beautiful lady. I mean, she was really nice too. At least in the few seconds I saw her.
We'll do our best. Nadia here is an expert. You can trust her, and you can trust Sola. I don't know about him, but you can trust us.
As you point at Ramesh, you see that Ramesh is just like pacing back and forth, like ranting to himself about like out of his league. Excuse me, the Sita bloodline is flawless. We are all beautiful. Anyone would be lucky to have any of us. And like he's just going off.
So
No
it's
one in
like,
particular. He's just
Zola,
talking.
like just so we could keep things going along. The last thing Zola will say in earshot of Nadia will be, and while she's talking to this person, and if it makes you feel any better, bear in mind that's what you're comparing yourself to.
And you hear a little giggle as they go back into their books.
All right.
No.
Well,
Let's keep going.
yeah.
So
Let's
are
go
you
talk to the professor.
Yeah, so the professor can be found in his office, which is near the dean's office, and there's like one or two students that he's conversing with, and you wait for a couple of moments before he sort of sees you and says, well, why don't we pick it up in my next office hours? And yeah, just remember, a Zoogle is not the same as a Zoogal. And and they both get up and they look like they're like 17 or 18. They're really young, like probably freshmen, and they leave.
All right, so I want to bring him up to speed about the badge that was in the thing in the restricted area. Then they
Do you hand it to him?
Yes, and
And he's
then
like, yep, that is certainly Master Sita's number.
yes, we found it in the bookshelf. I believe right near where the manuscript would be. I also found 2 sets of footprints, one entering the restricted area, one waiting just outside. We also found materials for the Arcanist magic aura, right where the manuscript would be.
Oh dear, this looks like this was pre-planned.
Yes.
This doesn't look good for Master Sita, though.
Excuse me. My brother is an illusionist. He knows nothing about divination magic. He could not have cast this spell.
Of course he could. It is an illusion spell. It makes divination magic not work, but the spell itself is an illusion spell.
Well, he wouldn't have done it. Also, one of your
maybe he didn't do it, but it seems like so far it seems like he's very guilty at the moment, regardless of intentions.
Well, there's more. We spoke to the student on duty at the time, and it seems his brother had a companion, and the companion came up to the student on duty, and that's all they remember. They woke up at dawn. There was also a strong smell of sulfur, as if they were of a fiendish nature.
Your student fell asleep on duty. Maybe instead of working your students like dogs, you should let them sleep.
Well, that's certainly possible. It's far more likely the companion did something.
I mean, she was like, what's the phrase that people use? A lady of the night?
Well, your brother has been somewhat distracted as of late.
And what does that mean?
Well, he was very studious up until 2 or 3 weeks ago when he started not showing up for extra classes and lectures, and in fact started missing some of his regular classes and lectures. And frankly, I was concerned he might. I mean, I didn't want to bring this up, hoping he'd pull through. You know, sometimes things happen at home that cause a problem and they take it out in different ways. And you know, I know a lot of young students go to the Rosebud to vent out whatever frustrations they're having in life.
Everyone keeps talking about this Rosebud place. And like,
You know what the Rosebud is. It is like the student place to go for entertainment, gambling, and companionship, paid for. You may have even yourself used their services, but that's completely up to you as a character.
no, he prefers other students. Otherwise, you can't go to the restricted section.
But you know of the place.
I know of the place. I've probably like played a few games or something, but I've never taken a companion pack. I'm too beautiful for that.
You never pay for such companionship.
Yeah, I earn it. I want to be very clear that this is just the character for anyone watching. This is just the character. I'm not this shitty of a person in real life. I'm not a shitty person. I'm a good person. I'm just saying all the things the white men say.
Okay, but yes, going back to this, you have heard of the Rosebud, and Professor Bumble says that he's been distracted, and I've noticed his other students and friends have seen him quite frequently. In fact, I think one of his closest friends mentioned that he now, rather than staying at the dorms, stays at the Rosebud.
Then I think I know where we're going next.
I still want to approach the infernal angle. But is there any? Do we know anything about like possible avenues of control, especially like with a succubus or something?
That's very probable. I mean, there's lots of fiends with illusion magic and charm magic, and that can charm or beguile people to do their bidding. Although, I wonder what such a creature would want with such an old book, if this is what they're after.
I mean, such creatures themselves are usually old, and there might be collectors among them, even if they aren't.
Or it could just be that there's like something secret inside the book that you haven't found yet because you haven't really worked with the book enough.
It's very probable that could be the case. I mean, the restricted section is for those who seek information, and it's there. I myself profess to not know everything, and elven lore is not really my field of speciality. I deal with monsters and what makes them tick. In fact, Nadia, the other day when I was out in the swamp looking to study a Zoogle, you saved me from becoming Chow.
But what do you know about demons? And I roll insight on this to try and see like if he's
Okay.
lying about how much he knows.
All right. As far as you can tell, because Brumble was also there during your years, very much zoology, and because head of the department due to seniority probably, but their speciality lies like they sort of know a little bit of every sort of creature type, but their speciality was really more with abominations and monstrosities.
Okay.
And fiend would be very basic fiend lore.
Do you know of any other creatures that like smell like sulfur?
I mean, swamp creatures, but most of them don't have the intelligence to go beguiling students into stealing books for them.
Are there ways to? I guess that would just be detect magic. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the Rosebud next. If everyone's done.
Mhm.
Zola.
Sounds sensible to me.
All right.
All right. So as you leave the academy and head towards town, by this point it's close to sunset. It's not quite sunset yet, but it is getting close. And you approach an alley which is sort of starting into the entertainment area. You know that the Rosebud is a brothel that caters to the more sophisticated tastes, like lords, ladies, nobles, students at the academy, um, and many students that feel the stress and isolation of higher academia usually go visit this place for some temporary relief and companionship. You see a two-story building that is a stonework building with vines and roses all over it, hence the name. And as you notice that it's not very full at the moment, as it is currently sort of just the start of the busy hours of like happy hour and everything. As you enter, there's a ground floor that looks sort of like a very common tavern's common area, but a lot cleaner and smells a lot better. There is a long bar in the back of the room, like furthest from the door, where there is a madam and a very like a gorgeous barkeep serving the few customers that are there. There is two clear sections. One is filled with large round tables where you see a few students, either there's a book open and they're studying, or they're actually playing games of chance like poker or various other card games. And then you see towards the staircase, because the top floor actually looks in, and it's sort of like there's a railing and nothing but doors all over the second floor. So there's a staircase, and right under the staircase, you see several boots that have veils on them to give some privacy and are closer to the bar. And between both areas, you see beautiful men and women who clearly stand out as staff, as they have rosebuds in their hair or on their lapels, talking talking to customers as they go back and forth. You get stopped by a very well-dressed gentleman who's like, "Do you have a reservation here?"
Hi, I don't need a reservation.
Sort of looks you up and down, sees, do you have a crest, your family crest somewhere on?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And says, "Oh, well, of course, Master Sita.
I want to speak with the madam, please.
Of course, the bar's right over there."
Thank you.
And are these two people with you?
He points and nodding and says, "She is." I don't know where that one came from. And points at the mercenary.
Oh, I'm just a regular coming back in to see some friends. And I kind of imagine this is the place Zola's pretty acquainted with and probably knows some of the companions and is probably at that moment waving over and is like, "Hello, Georgina. Hello, Marcus."
And sort of looks and sees them waving back. It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you. Of course. Please come in."
Ramesh is kind of disappointed at that. Like, so close. And he's going to head up to the madam.
Recognized aim, man.
Question also, the inside of this building, because the outside's all stone, is the inside wood or is it all still stone also?
It's probably it's wooden, but you think the structure is made out of stone still.
Okay, cool.
I want to lean quietly over to Zola and say, I don't want to leave the Lordling alone, but would you consider speaking to your friends about this matter? Like if they know of a sport with red hair.
Probably somewhat like mocking Ramesh's mannerisms. She'll probably just wrong. For you, my lady, I will do whatever I can. Your wish is my command. And I think I have two hand axes, or if I don't, I'm just like imagining it like two hand axes, like just bowing unnecessarily and just walking very like foppishly over to two of the companions. And
Okay,
then
so
like after
we'll do these events will happen simultaneously. The two speaking to different people, but we'll do one then the other, and then I will give you time to talk to each other if you want. So we'll deal with Ramesh first. You head up to the bar where the madam.
And I'm going with him too.
Yeah. With the madam. Nadia.
Yeah, I'm going with him.
Okay, so Ramesh and Nadia following closely behind. The madam is just sitting there, sort of making some sort of a preparation and quietly just watching everything almost on sort of a raised bar stool. So there's like a good vantage on the ground floor of everything. And she smiles to you, looks you up and down. She's like, Master Sita, it has been forever. And sort of puts her hand out. Like in a sort of like, the courtesan. Yeah.
He like looks at her hand and like picks it up like very daintily, says hi, like shakes it up and down.
Oh, it has been forever. I mean, are you married yet?
Oh, thankfully no. But I'm not here about me. I'm here about, well, the other Master Sita, my brother. So like,
yes,
where is he?
He is such a wonderful patron. I mean, after I simply must thank your family for endowing him with such a good fortune that he is able to live here instead of the dorms.
Okay, which room is his?
Well, at the moment, I believe he checked out yesterday, so he doesn't have a room anymore. I thought
have you seen him since then?
Give me a charisma check.
Just straight charisma?
If you think a certain ability applies, you can certainly.
I have a charisma of +2, so I'll just throw it in persuasion, I guess.
Yep. She says, well, I have to say the Rosebud values discretion, and if he hasn't talked to you about it, it isn't my place to say where he is at the moment.
That's really nice, and I'm so glad that you value your discretion. How do you value people's lives?
I don't understand what you mean. And at this point, she sort of she does a motion, and you notice two really beefy but gorgeous servers show up just to flank her.
I kind of cut in front of him. Has his room been cleaned since he checked out?
I'm not quite sure yet. I mean, as I said, we value our discretion. However, if someone were to book the room for the night, it would probably have to be cleaned unless they requested it not to be clean. We value all sorts of fetishes here.
Has it been booked since you checked out?
As far as I know, it might be available.
I kind of look over at Ramesh.
Uh-huh. You like look at me and he just like looks at you with wide eyes and like,
May we investigate the room? His brother is missing and we need to find out why.
His brother's missing. Well, unless the down guard forces our hand, as I said, we value discretion. However, you're welcome to book the room for the evening.
he has like this angry smile on his face. He says, I have no interest in booking the room. Tell me what I want to know, please.
And at this point, the two servers that had flanked her are like, what would you like to drink, sir? If you do not wish to drink, then please step away.
Look,
Okay, sure. I'll step away. Sorry, Nadia, go ahead.
Look, do you want to find your brother or not?
Oh, I do, but I won't be extorted. So, how about this? Let's play a fun little game, all right? All right? If you don't answer my next question, I'm going to burn this entire building down with everyone inside. How does that sound?
And at this point,
And he's going to summon fire in his hand.
And at this point, we will cut to Zola.
I just have the biggest. I'm surrounded by idiots. Like,
Zola, you find Georgina and what was your other Marcus.
And it's very much in like a very different demeanor than I have had before. It's like, Georgina, Marcus, it's a pleasure.
Oh, you're back in town.
Oh, dearies, come give your dwarven honey a hug.
And gives you a hug and a peck on the cheek, both of them at the same time.
So salacious, so wonderful.
And they say, well, what brings you here? And who are those? I mean, I've seen that gorgeous kitty cat before, but who's that? And they point to Ramesh.
When they say gorgeous, are they referring to Ramesh or to Nadia?
To Nadia, the kitty cat.
Oh, she's a good friend, or at least ally. Travel with her. She keeps me alive. I try and keep her alive. It's a wonderful arrangement we have. The other one is he's a little bit low in the world experience area, but he's trying his best to help out our investigation. To be fair, he's been a little bit useful, but we're mainly here trying to find that fucker over there's brother. We're just trying to figure out what's happened to him.
Who's that fucker's brother?
Oh, he's from what we know, he's been someone who's been renting out a room here for a while. It seems as though he's had a bit of a companion for a while, like someone who maybe find wonderful ladies and men and those in between and beyond would be
many fine, wonderful ladies. I mean, we've had lots of students come through here. You know how it is, Marcus. Oh, I know, Georgina.
Oh. It's sort of like cups, like, and it's probably silly that it's like because it's a dwarf and they're probably like average size.
No, they actually
like
kind of bent down to both of to your height.
Oh, okay. Then she is probably like cupping both of them by the chin and just being like very affectionate with them. It's like, oh, I know you're both attractive and you've always treated me well, but if you could help your sweet little dwarven honey bear just a little bit. We're looking for someone more specific. That one over there, have you happened to seen someone who might be related to him? Perhaps a little bit more intelligent, or at the very least, less of a fuckhead.
Well, do you know who the companion is? I mean, sometimes things blur. Of course not you, honey bear. We remember you.
Oh, you remain a charmer as always, as you've always been. But alas, it can't be a visit of entirely pleasure, though we know it would be a very long one if it was. But in all honesty, have you seen It's really more a matter of trying to find that one's brother. If we can find him, it'll give us a sense of which companion it is. Have you seen anyone who's been coming around with him?
Well, I mean, there was one or two students. They were really rich fuckers. Liked reading a lot, and apparently all of us got really upset when he came in with this gorgeous person. And she's not one of us, though.
What do you mean? Is she new? She just happened to be a new hire, or is she just someone who hasn't been around?
He got the room for him and his companion. I mean, a lot of us were upset because usually that's how we make our paycheck. I mean, it's kind of in bad taste to come to our establishment with a companion in hand. I mean, it's like going to a restaurant with someone else's food. It's just not done.
And you're so delightful, so delectable in all of the things. But if it's the case that he's brought someone with him, has anyone ever seen her before? Or is this just happened recently?
Well, actually, and she looks over to one of the booths and she says, every time we go to see if they want something to drink, they just are like, no, shoo, we don't want any more companions. Even though the redhead, she was so into me, and Marcus like, no, she's into me. Well, we could share her, silly, but it seemed like she didn't want to spend time with either of us.
Dears, wait, back up a second. So you're saying that fellow's brother came in with someone, one person,
right over there.
Just him and the companion?
Yeah, in that booth over there.
All right, that's very helpful. Georgina, Marcus, dear, would you mind bending down just a little bit more? I can't be my full charming self if I can't make it a little private between us.
And they bend down and we cut to the conversation going. I assume you have enough time and you reach the bar just as the fire reaches on Ramesh's fingertips. And now we come back to you. We're ready to burn the place down.
He has the fire in his hands and a wild look in his eyes.
And Nadia, you see Zola returning from a quick chat from the companions.
I'm just like...
Do you say anything, Zola?
I'm just like...
Oh, well, the last thing I wanted to get into the two before we move to that, the last thing I just wanted to tell them real quick was, dears, there might be a bit of a brawl coming real soon. Get out of here quick. I'm dead serious. I don't want you getting hurt. You're my favorites. And give both of them like a quick peck on the cheek, and then I walk back over.
Yep.
But I like emphasize as I'm walking away, quietly. Like just try and give them a warning before like anything happens, but just try and get them to like
they go over to the curtain area where you notice almost like dead still. They're the sort of same colored clothes as the decor. These very like stealthy but totally ripped people step out. Just do. As you notice, Georgina and Marcus head towards the curtains, and you see after like 2-3 seconds, like 2 or 3 of these guys come out, and they're just not looking intimidating, but it looks like they're basically the bouncers of this place.
And now we cut back to the fire.
Yes, like, the fire.
And he says, so my question, what do you know about my brother, and what can you tell me?
And you notice at this point, even both the really buff bartenders do this, and there's like cold snowflakes coming out of their fingertips.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's so adorable. Do you really want to play?
Do we
I'm
notice
happy to
this?
play.
Yeah, you notice this. You see this happening as you walk in with that information.
I'm going to grapple Ramesh.
Okay, give me an athletics check, and Ramesh, you give me an athletics or acrobatics.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a tie.
so that is status quo, which means you try to grapple but beats it. And Ramesh, you're being grappled by Zola.
Do I see that it's Zola? Because I don't know that I saw Zola approach.
Okay, I'll say
that was
for
a
the purposes of not burning this bar to the ground yet, Zola tackles you.
He's like on the ground, just like screaming. He's just like,
Nadia, do you
let
do
me
it?
go, let me go, let me go.
I had intended just to like keep his hands behind, but that works too.
Oh yeah, sorry. You grab his hands, Nadia.
I apologize for this one. We're trying to handle this matter with a degree of discretion, not involving the town guard, as requested by the professor in charge of the student. Is there really not any way we can investigate just to see what happened to him, especially? Or no, actually, I don't know.
Roll call. RP just rated us. Yay!
Yay.
And he is currently trying to burn down a house instead of just like paying some money.
Sorry, you're asking what the price of the room is?
No, I'm asking if there's any way. Like, I'm assuming I don't have enough money for that.
Well, a room costs 5 gold, and
I can just pay for that. Okay, cool. I'll just pay for it.
Okay. And says, and for the rate for asshole is actually 10 gold pieces.
Yeah, I don't think I'll need him.
All right, takes it. Thank you for your patronage.
All right, and then I go to investigate the room.
Okay.
Zola will follow you behind, and while we're heading over, just very covertly. Well, it's probably not that covert since I'm trying to like grapple and move with Ramesh, but I'm like, I will try and tell Nadia first while I'm grappling Ramesh. Nadia, they're right over there. They're over there in the booth.
Wait, really?
Yes, but they have muscle with, because to be clear, when you had mentioned it at DM.
Oh, the muscle was basically for the club. When you told Marcus and Georgina that there's going to be trouble, they alerted the bouncers.
Okay, just double checking on that. I'm making sure that it's not their muscle that's just for that booth. It's the bouncers. Yeah. Okay. But
yeah.
Okay.
They're over there.
Well, like in that case, I especially want to check the room before any accomplices or hostage takers can erase evidence. But if you two want to speak with them, then certainly.
Do you think it wise to just be one of us off on our own while the other two are doing this?
Well, of the people that could be alone, he is the least I would like to. The two of us can handle ourselves. Certainly.
I
not.
can
won't
handle
harm.
myself.
Okay, so who's going where?
I want to go to the room, and they can do whatever they like.
Yeah, we'll go to the booth.
Okay, so we'll deal with the booth first. Actually, we'll deal with Nadia first. So you go upstairs, you are led to the room, and you open the room, and the first thing that assaults your Witcher senses, which I imagine you sort of start to attune to while you're investigating, it was just a very faint sulfurous odor in at the library, just very faint, but only your nose was able to pick it up. You are now assaulted with the full-on stench of it.
All right. So I want to investigate to see what there is. Nice.
Nice. Okay, so You definitely, there is a huge, there's like telltale signs of two people in this room. You get some whiff of, it's very similar to the scent of Ramesh, sort of maybe same perfume or whatever, and the sulfurous odor in the intermingling. And you see on the table as you start, like, and in the garbage next to it, you see spell components for various spells, and especially you see scraps of silk cloth.
All right.
And you get the slight odor of like old musty books.
All right. I need to sneeze, but it's not coming. Okay. I forgot what I was going to ask. Okay, so is that all I find? Just like smells
and smells, and you also see little, like, it's torn up and slightly burnt, but you see small, what languages do you know?
I know Elven and Common.
Okay, you see runes that that are foreign to you. You don't know them.
Okay. What are the runes on? Are they like on the floor, on a book?
They're on some sort of a scroll of some kind. It doesn't look like old paper like that from the library, just a scroll of some kind.
Okay, I take the scroll.
Okay. And we will cut to the booth. And Zola, you approach with Ramesh, sort of like, I can handle myself. And we have variant roles raiding us. Thank you for the raid. Woo! Yeah, so Zola, you approach the booth and you see a younger version of Ramesh, slightly different features, but the same sort of air, the same sort of robes, except maybe a little peevish and maybe a lot more stressed. And is sort of very cozy and intimate, sort of like holding hands and looking into each other's eyes. And you see this unearthly, like, drop dead gorgeous woman with red hair and tan skin and the greenest of eyes, just cooing into his ear and whispering sweet nothings. They almost seem to ignore you for a moment until the red-haired woman sort of looks up and says, "Darling, I think we have company. Please have a seat." And she motions for you to take the opposite side of the booth.
Fair enough, lass. You seem quite gorgeous, though I've seen many just as beautiful as you.
I see you have family visiting. Badri, won't you introduce us? And at this point, Badri looks very sheepishly and says, "Hi, brother. Hello, stranger. I don't know. Are you his bodyguard?"
Just a companion. Perhaps a little bit nicer than the one you've been keeping.
Well, what brings you here, brother? I know this is really hard to have this conversation.
Yeah, that's sort of why
Time for a break.
this might be a good point for us to sort of just break, just to give it just have it be like a very tense setup of a conversation starting.
Yes.
And just
Okay.
leave it right here.
We will we will take a quick 10-minute break. Yep. So we will be back once we go off air. We will be back 10 minutes from there, and we shall see what happens when brother confronts brother on our Witcher one shot, A Night in Oxenfurt. Oh, you're back. We're going to take a break right. We'll be back. Hello, everybody. We are back from our break. Where we last left off, the party found the not abdicating. What's the word when someone is basically disappeared, missing in action, but not missing in action? It starts with an A word. Anyways, absent. Maybe.
The way that will appear to the viewers is a voice from the void has just called out the answer. Even better. Oh God. God damn it.
Our
Okay,
producer
Oh,
said
technology.
absent.
God damn it.
okay, so
There's your
absconding.
technology.
Absconding. That was the word I was looking for.
Does
The
it start with-
absconding sibling in a booth with this unearthly drop dead gorgeous redhead woman canoodling in a private booth when Ramesh, you see what's happening, and Zola, you both sit in, and for a minute they kind of ignore you until the redhead sort of darling, we have company. And I see there's your family members here to see you as well. Please, have a seat.
Ramesh is already sitting and just is shooting daggers at his brother. Just like,
Hi. I didn't know you were coming here. This is a nice surprise.
no, you little shit. What the fuck have you been doing?
I can explain.
Oh, can you? You've been skipping classes. You've been living here. You stole a book.
I didn't. I didn't steal any book. I mean, no, I didn't. There's no book stolen. I don't have any books. Do you see me having any books? I don't have any books. I didn't.
Hey. What the fuck are you doing? You little shit.
It's not what it looks like, brother. I swear. And the lady says, manners. Manners, Budry. Aren't you going to introduce me, darling?
I have no interest in you, weird lady. I'm talking to my brother, and he's like not even looking at her. He's just like, doesn't care. So
At this point, you see her sort of embrace Budry and whisper in his ear, and poof, they both disappear.
Seems she was more tired of you than I was.
I'm gonna cast locate object really quick on something that my brother was wearing.
Okay.
Probably like his cloak.
Okay. You get no beat in 1,000 feet. At this point, Nadia, you're sort of done and you're heading downstairs.
And I kind of look towards the booth without the brother and his companion. I'm like, all right, what happened?
The same thing seems to be happening a lot of this night. He opens his mouth, terrible things happen.
They teleported away.
That too.
What type of spell did they use?
I don't know. She whispered in his ear.
Doesn't sound like a spell.
Do we have any leads now?
Oh yes, I found the scroll with a number of runes on it. Do you recognize any of this?
Can I read this?
What languages do you know?
Languages that I know include Common, Redanian, Elven, and Draconic.
These are Draconic.
Cool. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna read them so much.
You basically they're sort of different words, and like it's like because they're torn up, you only get snippets of it, and you see something like Tus, Valley of the Nine, and Sanre, and unintelligible. Give me an intelligence or a history.
Not one again. Apparently, with a +7, y'all. I am not one. was my
Does
second
anybody? Do you say what the words are out aloud to?
Yes, he's telling them what the words are.
Okay. If either of you want to make history checks, you may do so.
I'll
Give
try.
me advantage.
I'll also
That'd be
try.
great too.
Oh no.
Does anyone want to help and give me advantage, please? Someone.
Zola, that is enough. You
Okay.
recognize that the Tous probably stands for Toussaint, which is what the book was about, as well as San Ritor River is one of the main rivers that is there. But the word like the Valley of the Nine, you've heard of the Elvish name for it, which is Navde or Nave, which was a very old valley that existed, but is now flooded by the San Ritor River. And they're all located in Toussaint, which is what that book was about.
I will explain all of that to the party in detail.
How far is Tucson?
Oh, it's like several weeks of travel. It's
Okay.
much further south. It's independent duchy or duchy or ducky. I always say duchy. It's a very small, independent, one of the few nations that are sort of left alone by the Empire and Nilfgaard and the continent. And it's like a wine country place. However, Nadia, you do get whiffs of the sulfur smell, like just sort of coming from those, but you also sense it sort of trailing somewhere out from a window.
All right. Well, I want to follow the trail, and I'll explain that I'm following the trail to them. But I want to go follow the trail.
Give me a survival check with advantage. Okay. Yeah, so it takes you about an hour as you keep on having like you miss a spot, but then you find it again, and eventually after you sort of go around various places that you think they could have teleported to out of range, you finally pick up the trail, and it leads you out into it leads you out to the outskirts of Oxenfurt, heading towards a hill on the north in the northeastern forest past the Novigrad gate. As you seem to be following the right track, the trail actually now gets really fresh, and it gets easier to follow it. And eventually, you approach. The outside of a cave where you know for sure this is probably where they've gone.
Okay. The other two followed me, right? They came.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would like to say that my character has cast mage armor on himself. Now that he knows that she can teleport and do other things, he is concerned.
Okay. And as you approach, what do? You're pretty sure like the track that is there is probably not more than maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Does it lead out?
It doesn't. It seems to be there's only one way in and out. And can you all see the map?
No, I can't.
No. Oh, how do people? How do I make the map visible?
I mean, the map is visible to me. You just have to find it. You might need to zoom out a bit and find it.
Oh, okay.
No, even when I zoom out all the way, I can't see.
That was actually for, I think, because I'm not looking at Twitch just to see if the map has been moved.
The map on Twitch is on the actual map.
Oh, okay, cool. Yay. Okay, so
the map on Twitch is. Oh, do you just mean the thing with our 3 tokens?
Yeah.
In the white space?
Okay, yeah, I was also expecting like a full-on
Yeah, I was expecting a
map.
That's been
But there
visible
is an
the whole
actual
time.
map. There is an actual map. It should be sort of a cave tunnel.
No, I don't see that. It's just the
No.
white bit with our 3 tokens.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well.
On Twitch or on
On Roll20, I think all of us currently are just seeing the smaller, wider square within a larger, just black spaces.
Yeah, and
And
that's
that
what
is
I
what
see
is
on
on
Twitch.
Twitch, too.
Oh, okay. There. Now does it work?
Nope.
For Roll20, have you gone to the little square right near the sidebar to scroll up and down along the map to pull out the list of maps available and click the one and move the actual flag where the players are over to it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, click the player's flag and you just drag it over.
There we go.
There we go.
There we
Yeah, see,
Okay.
I've done that before. I think I did that last night even. I forgot to drag you all over because you were still on the starting screen.
Yeah, I think that happened. I can't
funny.
select myself.
You're currently the Witcher symbol.
But
Yeah,
we
I
can't
can't-
move ourselves is the problem.
Oh,
Yeah. Let me try dragging myself over. Aha, there we go. Okay.
Cool.
I dragged it on, but there's still another one on the map that I can't.
yeah, I'll delete that.
Cool.
Cool.
And who's missing a token?
Me.
I'm good now.
Okay.
Can you drag your
Character sheet.
yeah, if you drag a character sheet, it should drop a token.
Okay, let me try. Yay, there he is. There's my boy.
So there's 2.
There's 2 of mine. Just get rid of one of them and I'll use the other one. There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. And I realized I forgot to add other tokens, which I will do at some point. Okay. So you see in front of you that there is a dark cave that is just a straight tunnel, and then it looks like there might be a passage over. How do I point to something?
Yeah.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
Yep. You just hold down the click.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it looks like there might
Magic
be
roll
something
20.
there and something over there as you approach. What do you all do, and what is your marching order?
Okay. Zola should take points. I should take the rear, and
Squishy wizard in the middle.
yeah.
Is it dark in this place, or is it like?
It is dark. It is. Dark vision.
Zola, do you have dark vision?
I do. Let me take the lead on this to at least.
Yeah.
Let me take the lead on this so I can
Should
give us
I
a sense of what
cast
we're doing.
lights, probably, and like help us all see?
But it also might alert.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
might
fine.
alert them.
The question is, and Zola sort of turns to Ramesh, not mocking him anymore, but like a very focused sort of intention. Ramesh, if you don't want to be attacked first, just listen to us. If you want him coming out of this alive, trust us.
Okay.
All right. If it comes to it and you need to see, you absolutely do it. But until that point, let's see how tactful we can be. And I'll start moving forward a little bit.
He just gives you a nod. Gone is the illusion of the noble.
All right. I'm just very quickly dropping things. Okay. Yeah. So which direction do you go? Do you go to the north or the south?
Your call, Nadia.
Can I ping to see if anything's in either direction?
Your spell locate what sorry,
The
your-
medallion.
the medallion?
Mhm.
What does it do specifically?
It pings for magical things
You get
or monsters or
range?
anything.
Is there a range?
Let me see. I don't remember. 30 feet.
30 feet. There's nothing at 30 feet, but that sulfurous odor that got your medallion to vibrate is definitely leading in both directions, north and south.
All right. Let's go north first.
All right. Zola will take the lead on this, and she'll move forward a bit.
Okay.
I move my token forward, but it's still. Oh, there we go. I'm like,
The darkness.
I am the darkness.
Okay. And are you going stealthily, or are you just marching?
I'm going to try stealthily, but I am wearing split armor, and
I will treat this as a group check if everybody's going stealthily.
Cool.
So roll me your stealth check, and with disadvantage if you're wearing heavy armor.
Oh wait, I still have advantage on.
I'll just take the leftmost number.
Okay.
Is a 19?
Yeah. You don't seem to have alerted anybody, and oh, I'm using the wrong thing. I will move you here. Oh yeah, I'll just move this here for the time being.
as a heads up, Miriam, I think the Twitch actual interface, unless you're moving it along right now, they're only seeing the part that we started at. You'd have to move that subsection on it so that they can see.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
do
true.
No, actually, I believe that Leona's taking care of that.
Okay, just double checking on that.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, you enter the cavern, and with those with night vision, see this. And because I'm very bad at grabbing icons, sorry, I'm just gonna draw things.
That's interesting.
Because I'm not very good at tokens. So and you see that before you a bonfire in this cave, and the sound of very, very, very loud snoring as over here you see almost what looks to be misshapen boulders rising and falling and snoring. Both of them have 2 heads.
Mhm.
And in front of you, you see, I will give these colors so that it's easier to. The one with the purple dot is Badri, and the one with the red dot is Bara. And you see the both of them arguing. And Badri is like, no, this is a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know what I think of this anymore. I don't know what you think of this plan. And she's like, come on, darling. This is the best way to get rid of them. Otherwise, how can we be together? Your brother won't ever let us be together. I need you to give me the book now, darling, so that we can use it and get away. And he's like, but the book doesn't have anything of that sort. Give me the book. And she looks at the both of you, all of you, and says, it's too late. And she's now like snatching something. Roll initiative. So
Yeah,
remember
I was about to say Zola would charge.
Yeah, all of you remember to hang on to your token, like click on your token first and then roll initiative to get added to the turn order.
Uh,
Now I need to see, how do I find the turn order? I've never actually used, okay. No. Add turn. Ha ha ha, except I don't see the turn order.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I think it's because our numbers are messed up. Like my numbers are 2.14 instead of just a 2.
Yeah, I think it did. I think on our sheets it said, I think I did. I'm just gonna do it manually so that we don't waste too
Yeah.
much time. Okay, so Nadia is 19. Ramesh is 14. Zola 12, and I will just roll. Okay, so that's their initiative. And Nadia, you go first.
Okay, let me measure. Okay, I'm going to move over here and attack the lady.
All right.
Okay, so I vaguely remember the short sword and the silver short sword stuff. If I suspect that she's like a demon, a succubus, should I use the silver short sword?
You know that in this world, regular swords, unless they're magic or silver, will basically they will have resistance to all non-magical, non-silver damage.
Okay, so I should use the silver short sword if I suspect that she's
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna use that. And I have 2 attacks.
Yep. Okay, so the first one will miss, but the second one will connect. So do your damage.
6.
Okay. She screams and she laughs and says, silly witcher, you can't do anything to me. And she will actually grab the book and tell Badri, deal with him, darling, as she withdraws away and walks over here. And Badri sort of looks at you and will cast a spell on you, which I now have to look up what. As you can tell, I did so much prep for roll 20.
What's the spell?
I'm
They're
looking.
looking it up.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like Nadia to roll.
No.
Throw.
No.
No.
Because I'm going to use counterspell against my brother.
Okay. Roll a caster check. So that is just your intelligence and a d20.
Oh, so this is against spell that's higher than a level 3?
Yes.
So
Oh,
please,
shit.
please break it.
Okay, so I'm rolling my intelligence.
Plus a d20. So just an intelligence check.
Okay. Is it my caster DC though?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just double check what the.
It's just the idea is
no.
roll. Just do an intelligence check. Miriam
have
will
to-
know what the spell level is.
You
Okay.
have to beat the DC of the 10 plus the spell level, which I will tell you after you roll, or
Okay.
not.
Sorry, I was just a little confused.
No, that's fine.
Dang it.
Oh,
It's not
you
gonna be high enough.
try to counterspell it. You expend the spell slot, but it is not enough.
Yep.
And Nadia now needs to make a wisdom saving throw. Which is good that you did, as their DC, you just beat their DC.
What?
Apparently, your brother had was studying at a higher level than you, and initially you feel your eyes glaze over as if you're going to get confused, but then you shrug it off. And that is their turn. Next is Ramesh.
So Ramesh looks at. Actually, let me think about this. Ramesh is gonna walk up in front of his brother, look at Nadia, and say, "Go give her hell." And he touches her on the chest and himself, and casts invisibility, and they both turn invisible.
Nice.
Nice. I will definitely take advantage of that.
Okay, Zola, it is your turn.
All right, you just sort of see her just do like one of these for a second, just like crack everything in the neck. All right, time to do what I'm good at. And I am going to, with my movement, let me see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Base movement, 10, 15, 20. With only my base movement of 25, I can only get there. I'm going to action surge, use the dash action, so that I get right in front of her with another 20 feet of movement, and then I'm going to take my 2 attacks on her with the great axe.
All right.
So pray that I'm able to actually hit the damn thing. So we're going to go with great axe.
Are these magical or are they just plain?
Unfortunately, I don't think they're silvered great axe. But the first one doesn't hit, I think.
That was a miss.
Second one, I'm going to try and hit her again. Nope.
And it's also a miss.
But she's right next to me.
She laughs, and a throaty, seductive laugh, but also it has this edge of unearthliness to it. And you notice now she's almost slightly not touching the ground, and you feel the flapping of wings behind her. Okay, and now top of the round, it is Nadia's turn.
Yep, I'm going to move over and attack again while I am invisible. Do I get advantage for that?
You get advantage on your first attack.
Okay. So, boop. Normal.
That is definitely a hit.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay. So that is full damage. So that is now. And she shrieks in pain, But she looks to you, she hisses at Nadia, but she looks to you, Zola, and says, I see I must convince you to fight on my side as Zola, give
I was
me a
worried
wisdom
about that.
throw.
No.
You
know what
are
this
now
says.
charmed by her. And she says, darling, as she kisses you and says, darling, this bad girl is making me hurt. Would you please stop it? Please.
Question: is it just charmed condition, or is it more specific?
You obey her verbal and telepathic commands, and you feel this willful presence, as well as you think she's your best buddy, the love of your life, sort of a thing.
Okay, but her commands were stop making her hurt me.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do that.
And if you receive a suicidal command or suffer any harm, you can repeat the saving throw.
All right.
And she will, after doing that, she will go poof. Basically like a misty step sort of a thing, and show up there. And she looks like she's about to wake these misshapen boulders, which would be very, very bad.
Oh, yes.
And she just does. And now it is Ramesh's turn. You are invisible at the moment, correct?
Yep. Ramesh is going to basically sidestep his brother out of his way, just like that. And he sees the woman in the distance, and he is going to cast Chromatic Orb on her. I believe he has advantage because he's invisible.
Yes.
He's going to cast it with lightning damage.
Right.
And he holds out his hand and says, "Hey, ugly, over here!" And then fires it off.
You are now visible after you cast it.
Yep.
That is actually enough to hit.
Okay.
So
let me roll damage. I believe it's 3d8.
Yep. You notice that the lightning doesn't hurt her as much as it should.
Okay. Yeah, that's all. He doesn't have anything else he can do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to do Badri's turn. Badri wouldn't know you were there. Mm-hmm. So he sort of now, you notice that he's glazed. He looks glazed over, like he had a 1,000-yard stare, and now the fog's clearing, and he's sort of looking very confused as, where am I? What am I doing here? And then it's like, looks at his hands, and it's like, what was I holding?
Hey, bro, there's a lady trying to kill us. Help?
What? And that's all you get out of him. Zola, it is your turn. Your lady love is saying, please make everyone stop, or make her stop.
Make them stop hurting. Stop hurting her. I will do the best that I can to do so.
And how are you doing it?
I will run my 20 feet. I'll run 20 feet to go over to her, and I will grapple her, and I will pull her away so that I can keep her safe next to me. Because she did not say to kill them. She just said make the pain go away from them. This technically fulfills her command. I am keeping her safe.
Okay, give me an athletics check.
I really hope that this works. I really hope this works. Nope, that's 1, but it replaces one of my attacks, so I get to do another one.
Yay.
That's 15.
Okay,
contested by her, I think.
Yeah, I'm just looking up what her stats are.
It's amazing.
I really hope this fucking works. Because that's why I double checked what you said. Because I was like, okay, what exactly did you tell me? Okay, so
Yeah, she just gets surprised by like, what are you doing? And the first time she kind of struggles out of your embrace, and then the second time she gets caught and she's like, what are you doing?
I'll use my last 5 feet of movement if that's okay, to just try and pull her so that she at most can only be in touch range of one of the boulders. So at least if this gets bad, it's only one.
Okay.
And I'm the whole time I'm just muttering to her, "You're the most gorgeous woman I've ever been around. I have to keep you safe, and there's no safer place than in the dwarven honey bear's arms."
Let go of me! You hear the command. And top of the turn, Nadia, it is your turn.
All right, I am moving over and attacking again. Okay, 1 hits.
Yeah, 1 hit.
Question: does she have advantage on the attacks if I'm grappling onto her? Because she can't move.
Yeah. Okay.
So she gets.
So your first attack.
Just checking.
Okay, so I gotcha.
Except now you are the lady is hurting her.
I mean, but she can't do anything right now. Those both hit?
Yeah, both hit.
Okay.
Okay. Ow, ow. And she's like, what are you doing? She's still hurting me.
I'm not doing a very good job of trying to keep you safe.
And now it is her turn, and she will poof again over here and tell you the only way to protect me is to wake those Ettins up. Please wake them up for me, please. And she starts she poofs here. That was her bonus, and then she is going to start flying here. And that's her turn. And Buzzry, I'm gonna roll Buzzry is still confused as fuck.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I, as a bonus action, kick my brother in the nuts?
Yes.
Okay. So I kick my brother in the nuts. What?
I'll say it's part of your move.
Cool. So I kick my brother in the nuts, just like flat out, just like right to the crotch.
And he goes, "Oh, what was that for, brother?"
And then I'll push him to the ground so he's on the floor now, out of danger. And I'm gonna look at this woman and say, "So lightning didn't work, but how about this?" And he's going to fire another chromatic orb out, this time with thunder, and it's going to be at 3rd level because I have no 4th level slots currently.
Okay.
So let me roll for that. I left advantage on, unfortunately.
I'll take the leftmost if it's not with advantage. But unfortunately that does not. It
Dang
goes
it.
wee, and she just chuckles at you. Your brother was better. And Zola, it is your turn. Gotta wake the Ettins up.
I do. So I have an understanding of having worked with rocks and things of that sort part of my life. The only thing I know is at times either hitting it with a stick or song. Okay. I'm gonna go with song. Right. Just gonna start just singing and just try and it just probably sounds like yelling, depending on, I don't know if you want me to roll for performance on this, but she's just gonna try and just yell and just be like, "Hey, wake up! Wake up!"
The snores stop, and there's like a grunt. And that's what happens. Nadia, it is your turn.
Okay. I am. Wait, let's make sure. I'm gonna try to move over to her. Yeah, and that's what I can do.
Okay. You can dash, I guess.
How does dashing work? I haven't saved it.
It's an action, and you just you move
Oh,
it.
double move? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will dash over to her. And then that's my turn.
Okay. On her turn, she's gonna say, "Well, all this wrestling's been all this cat and mouse has been fun, but it's time for me to go." And poof, she disappears.
Cool.
I got what I need, and she goes poof.
Does she have the book on her?
Yeah.
But you know for a fact that she's been sort of doing these short distance hops, which
Okay.
you all recognize as like misty steps, so she can't be far.
Okay, is Zola still charmed? How long does that last?
You're not
definite.
I'm gonna say give me an Arcana check on like monster, like maybe you've seen this before. How long does it last? Okay, so you know
30 days. I think.
you know that it is good for 24 hours.
Cool. I wouldn't know how far the telepathic part, that telepathic instructions.
Oh, it literally is once they're charmed, they don't even need to be on the same plane of existence.
Cool. Can I just go over and punch her out of it?
Sure.
Do you want me to roll something for that?
It's an attack against AC. Although it's not your turn because that was her turn.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah, so you're still back over here.
Okay.
And the Ettins now start waking up. They're like, what? Who are you call? Who calls? And they see this dwarf right next to them and like, you docky man, stop! And they're gonna take a swing at you.
It was a pleasure serving you.
In the arms of the angel.
What is
The
your
arms of a devil woman.
What is your AC, Zola?
My AC
7,000.
is 18 because I have defensive fighting style.
Just miss. They kind of swat you, and end up swatting their companions. So now the other Ettin's waking up. And it is now Ramesh's turn. You now hear, "Why, docky man, be quiet!"
He's gonna like run up towards like whatever this red stuff. What is the red stuff on the ground?
That's the bonfire.
Fire. Okay. He's gonna run up to like right in front of the fire and like get real low, not like on the floor low, but like very calming sort of movements like you would do with like an animal. And he'd be like, "It's all a dream. Just go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. See how warm it is? No one's here."
And are you casting the spell, or are you just trying to?
So, I am casting the spell, but I'd love to not have to roll and just have it happen. That'd be great.
Roll your 5d8 because other things might happen.
Fantastic. I might just put
Where's the center?
The center would probably be like, it's gonna be so I'm out of radius at least.
So just do your sort of clicky thing to highlight where the center is.
Probably like right there, which I know she's in the middle of.
What is your current hit point, Zola?
I'll let you know when he rolls for the sleep. It's above what he can reach with his 5d8 at max.
Oh, then don't bother.
It's more a matter of this has been an ongoing theme of the evening of just like every time we're getting somewhere, you just fucks it up.
31.
Nothing happens because, surprise, surprise, everyone who could be affected has HP over it.
Yay.
And
Can I persuasion them to go back to sleep?
you know what? I will be incredibly generous and say, sure, roll persuasion, roll deception actually, and if you beat my incredibly high target, it'll happen.
Cool. I won't, but cool. Nope.
Or documents? Mosquitoes. Must swat. And now, Zola, it is your turn. They're awake and they swatted at you.
Okay.
I mean, you did your job.
Technically, so that's the thing. I did my job, so technically I can run away from this.
Yes.
And I've done my job technically, because
yes.
I would have also added the stipulation. She did not tell me I had to keep waking them up. I just had to wake them up once. So technically,
Correct.
I am done. But I will turn to both of them if they're both awake and just be like, dears, if I'm going to be honest, I did try and wake you up intentionally. I was told by a devil woman who's running away over in that direction that she wanted me to wake you up from your sleep. If you want to swat someone who's responsible for this, you might want to go chase the devil woman.
They say, we just want to sleep. Stocky mosquitoes, go away. And they're now getting up. They're now getting up and they're getting their battle axes and morning stars.
On that note, I'm going to dash away from them.
So is that your move in action to
40,
run?
50. Yes, it's 50 feet of movement. I'm running. Or actually, I'll take, if I can take a route, because I started over here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So that regardless if he takes an attack of opportunity, I'm willing to take one set, hopefully not 2 sets.
They seem to be more concerned about sort of they swat at you, but they're kind of still asleep.
Okay, then I will just flee.
Okay, top of the round, Nadia, it is your turn.
I'm gonna fuck out of here.
Okay,
I'm gonna motion everyone to come out, but like, yeah, I'm getting out. So I'm gonna dash. Just assume everyone's following me.
Yeah.
There's
over here.
Ah.
And she hisses as she sees you turn the corner, getting ready to flee once more.
Okay,
and it's her turn, and she is going to actually just fly. And she is now, I will say, we are sort of getting out of the map now and is getting into sort of chase sequence. He goes about 60 feet ahead as she flies with the book in tow.
Is it just a Scooby-Doo sequence at this point where it's just a mage, a witcher, and a dwarf?
I'm going to say between Nadia and for the first few rounds until all of you catch up as you flee. So this round, I will just consider Nadia and Vara. Do you have a ranged weapon to affect it?
I have a light crossbow, but I don't think... Oh, let me check to see if I have silver. Yes, I have silver crossbow bolts.
Okay, you may make an attack.
Okay.
Shoot that hoe.
And I have 2 attacks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them hit.
Nice.
Okay, she looks really hurt and now is furious at you. And Zola, you hear in the back of your head as you are really what did I do? Okay. You hear in your head Please kill the Witcher for me, darling. But you're still like a turn away from catching up.
Yeah.
As I assume you are all bugging the fuck out of here.
Mhm.
Leaving the
Pretty much.
alone.
It's the only thing I would have tried to do is if I got within 20 feet of her in any capacity, tried to chuck the javelins I have at her.
I will let you know if that occurs. And again, she goes 60 feet. I imagine you're gonna shoot her again.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so do that now.
I think that's a short sword.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep. Misses, and now she is getting further away.
Wait,
Wait.
22
22.
misses? Because the 16.
Oh, 22, yes, hits. And how do you want to do that?
I just shoot her.
You get
That's-
right between her shoulder blades, like where her wings are, and she just falls to the ground.
Cool. I want just so that breaks the charm on Sola too. Should do.
I really hope Death
I
breaks.
I really hope it does.
I will say, yeah, it does. I mean, I technically didn't write that it does that. But
That's a reasonable thing that happens with this.
Yeah.
Death.
So I want to go over. I
your
want
mind clears as you finally catch up to
to.
Nadia is. And Ramesh, do you drag your brother with you, or do you?
Yes. I'm literally dragging him by like the back of his collar.
Just doing
He's like,
just
why'd
biting
you
ear. It's
kick-
like, ow,
Oh yeah, I'm grabbing his yeah, exactly. I'm pinching his ear and just pulling him along.
what is going on? Why are we here? Why did you kick me in the balls? What was that for?
And I drag him out into the hall and I like hold his ear, and I say, "Look," and I point at the woman. And I look at him and I say, look at her. Does he say anything? Is he looking at her?
What's Vara doing here, and why does she have wings?
You're a dumbass.
You know what, Fancy Pants? For the first time, I agree with you.
Wait, why are you here? What's going on? Last thing I remember, I was going to the library to study.
Well, you stole a book. You absconded with said book. And the demon succubus woman you've been fucking decided that she was going to use you to do some sort of insane ritual and wake up a bunch of Ettins, who, by the way, are still awake and are probably going to come after us. So let's get out of this cave as soon as possible. And if
Have
you don't,
noticed that the Ettins haven't followed you.
he's still saying it. He doesn't care. He wants to get his brother out of here as quick as possible. And he's like, also, if I ever hear that you've gone to the Rosebud again, I will personally burn you alive. Or I'll bring Mom.
No, not Mom! Please, anything but Mom! I'm sorry, brother! I don't even know
He will
what's
break
going
your mind.
I don't care about anything of this. I don't care about any of this. I just grab the book and like make to leave.
Yeah, you see the book is covered in silk, and it is very old and very fragile. And it
I
looks
take it
like
very carefully.
Can I search the succubus for anything that she might have had? Like anything?
Sure, give me an investigation check.
Cool.
You find a scroll that is written in a language you do not understand.
Okay. I'm going to take that with me.
Do you mention that you've taken this with you?
No. This is another one for the collection.
So you
Or,
all
like,
make your way
that's
back
fun.
to the academy. I'm gonna just sort of fast forward, and you're all back at the academy. Where do you go first, and what do you do?
I go to return the book to the restricted section.
Okay, you see Aldred Geert over there, curmudgeon, sort of sitting at the desk, having some sort of a stew, and looks up and says, "Ah, you have returned with the student. You are in a lot of trouble, sir."
He was charmed by a succubus.
Upon Nadia saying that, Zola, who has been thinking about the student who we met earlier and just trying to be certain and thinking about like the most direct ways to try and like prove that this was some other interference and not just the student doing something, will pull out of her pack the succubus wing in front of him. And like, so that you don't be blaming this on anyone else. And just lay it out in front of him. And so that the tip of the wing is in his stew.
Sort of uses a spoon to lift it up, examines it,
Does he take a bite? Yeah.
licks it, and is like, "Ugh, yeah. I mean, not something I'd want to add as flavor, but point taken," and puts his stew down. And says, "I imagine that is some creature that has relevance to what is going on over there."
Yes, she was controlling the student here. She charmed him, a succubus. They do that.
Haven't seen a succubus in a while. Did you bring the body? I mean, we could dissect it, and we've never had a succubus up close. That would be really interesting.
Zola pulls out the head of the succubus and chucks the skeleton head at him.
Ah!
I mean, the rest of her is like back in the caves that we found. Like, we can.
Oh no, I carved her up.
Oh, really? I completely missed that. I was yelling at my brother. Sorry.
Oh, I'm aware. When it came to doing the actual work, it had to come down to Nadia and I. More Nadia.
And why did you have to butcher? Do you know you could have gotten their important parts that could be...
Oh, don't worry. Part of the reason that I do this job is for the money. Part of the reason is to keep her alive. And the other part of it is just to see what happens whenever people get frightened by a thing they wanted killed.
Who are we speaking to again? Is it the dean or the scribe?
It's the scribe.
The librarian, essentially.
Okay.
I was like, you ruined my robes and these books and my ledger.
I'm sorry, I don't know any better. I don't have learning like you do.
Out!
Ramesh grabs his brother and he's going to head to the dean's office.
Yeah, I follow once the book is secure again.
Takes the book and goes and puts it back in the restricted section and puts the wards up and everything, and is still grumbling and sort of giving the death stare daggers to Zola. Okay, so you head to the dean's office, and the dean, there's actually nobody there because it's way past, it's probably close to midnight, but there is a guard who then summons the dean, and the dean appears half sleepy, and it's like, I guess you have news?
Yes, we recovered both the book and the student who was charmed by a succubus.
And what proof do you have?
Well, there's...
the other wing.
well, actually, because it's the dean, and the dean seemed like a nicer fellow than the scribe did. So, like this one, there is another. She does pull out the other wing, but she also pulls out like the, because I think succubus, it's like hoof. Is it hoofed feet or is it just normal humanoid feet?
I'm gonna go with hoofed feet.
Yeah, she's actually taking care around the hands and the feet. She knows that like a lot different, at least from her passing knowledge being a merc, she'd be like, people like odd bits and ends. She just wanted to fuck with the scribe a little bit, but for the actual guy, she like saved a couple pieces, you might be able to actually work with materials and study it properly. He's like, I'm a barbarian, but I know when people care for these sorts of things. Hands it over.
Very good. And did it turn out was Master Sita responsible for absconding with the book?
Yes and no. He was charmed by the succubus.
But I'm sure that my brother would be happy to do whatever he can to reconcile this horrible action he has committed. I would personally suggest extra papers, perhaps even cleaning the latrines. I hear that they get quite grody this time of year.
I mean, since you did, Professor Brumble did say you were the best as looks at Nadia and Zola, and you did do as you said. So perhaps suspension and extra credit is in order for Master Sita.
Can we just like not suspend him and just make him clean the toilets? I hear that that's pretty bad.
Well,
Or personal servant for a day. That's always fun. Or a week. And he's just looking at his brother this entire time, just like dead eye staring at him.
brother looks appropriately sheepish and ashamed.
Oh, and if he ever does go back to the Rosebud, please do give me a call. I would love to hear about it. And I'll also leave the number of our mother just in case. I'm first contact, but if anything goes really, really wrong, call our mother.
Okay, we will take that under advisement. I think it's been a long day, and we shall deal with this in the morning. And sort of, you see now an even sleepier apprentice, the one that had seen you at the start of this, like in the afternoon. She comes along and she's holding 2 bags. And, as agreed, here's a grand for completing the task and a grand for doing this quickly and discreetly, and hands 2 bags to both Nadia and Zola.
I'm going to put that on my character sheet, even though it doesn't matter.
And then Ramesh looks at her and says, "Hey, you did a good job," and gives her 10 gold. Just like places it on the tray.
All right. I take it.
Not for you, for this woman, for the woman who brought in the bags.
Oh, and she
right.
sort of looks at it sort of awkwardly, like, we don't really, I don't.
Okay, if you don't need it, fine. And he picks it up and hands it to Nadia.
Just slightly crestfallen as it disappears. And that's the end of the game.
Wait. Can I add one last thing? Just one
sure.
quick thing. Just like once, I'll tell Nadia real quick that like I'll catch up in just a moment, and I'll go up to the dean if possible, and I'll just be like, "Did we get a name of the half elf person, the student, by any chance?"
Are you talking about the
other one who got charmed during their shift?
He fell asleep.
Oh, I actually don't have a name. I will fucking make one right now.
It doesn't matter. Whatever their name was, just go up to them and be like, if you wouldn't mind, if you're willing to take back about half of this, could I possibly ask a favor instead?
Depending on the favor, I'll just grant it to you. I mean, you did a good job. You got the book back before we had to do anything.
Put this towards, and I'll say the student's name. Put this towards her studies. Just tell her the Dwarven honey bear has come by to pay her respects. That's all.
and takes the money and says, that will go a long way. In fact, that probably will, that is a lot of money. That literally will take care of them for the remainder of their studies and extra. And says, I will do that. Thank you. And me
Fair play to you,
and are
Dean.
like,
Just
oh.
walks out.
Oh,
That's it.
that was super cute. So this is the Witcher one shot. Since none of you picked any of the secret missions, the rogues basically had all of them. Been interesting to see what would have happened, and I can talk about it off screen and everything, but it is close to time. It's actually just a few minutes over, so I would like to go around once more with our players and tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you on the interwebs, and we will start the other way around. So Angela.
Hello, everybody. I am Angela, otherwise known as Phoenix24Fem on Twitter, otherwise known as Philosophem on Patreon. I am a writer, a poet. I do a lot of work around, essentially, I describe it as feelings and healing and care in a world that really does not like a lot of people, which includes disability justice, politics, all the issues that I write for pieces for as part of the QTPOC online publication Art for Ourselves. And I am also a DM. If for any of you who caught the stream last night, I am the DM for Adventures in Agni, an all POC campaign that's happening in a world that I created. So yeah, I do a lot of stuff in TTRPG, and all of it is hope to just make space for all of us. But thank you, everybody.
And Russ.
Hi, everyone. I'm Russ. I'm the Dungeon Master for Prison Pals, which is an all-queer podcast that is also family-friendly. So you can find me at Prison Pals DM on Twitter, and you can find the show at Prison Pals. We have a very big event coming up in June that I'm not allowed to talk about, but just so you're aware, it's coming up, and we're very excited.
Awesome. And Aletta.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter at afiregender, and that's where you'll find all my other links. I'm an illustrator and screenprinter. Yeah, you can find all my drawings and pictures of my cat there.
And I'm Mariam, your GM. You can find me at media_junkie. I am a player on various things on Welcome to the Party, a player for Adventures in Agni, and a player and a player for Emissaries of Avitna, which unfortunately will not be happening tonight, but there will be an episode either, I'm not sure if we were doing one for Memorial on the Memorial Day weekend, but if it is, it will be next week, right after 3V. And I'm also the GM for the Musafirs podcast, which is a Decolonized 5E actual play podcast, and I will put links for myself in the chat. In addition, if you had a lot of fun watching this and other shows on our channel, definitely join our Discord. If you type exclamation, Patreon and Discord, Leona's got that, we will now be rating very soon. I am just waiting for, we will be rating Magic and Modifiers, which will be happening shortly. And thank you everybody for joining us in chat and for all our silliness. This was one of the first, one-shots that I wrote, and there's a lot of things that changed because of timing. I hope you had fun in this Witcher world, which was a lot more queer and and fun, and I hope it was fun. And
I had so much fun.
Yeah.
I hated Ramesh.
I This was great, Miriam. Thank you for giving us an introduction to this sort of world and just being an awesome GM.
Thank you.
Now I actually want to like go and play the games.
Yeah.
Oh, the games are so much fun, so much feels. They won't be any. I mean, they're going to be pretty awesome on their own, but they're not going to be as yay, this is happening. We are rating now.
Rating!
Bye. Cool.
Okay.